All right, so Kanye and Bianca, huh? Feels like every time I refresh Twitter or Instagram or whatever, bam, another headline pops up.
Yeah, it's been pretty wild.
First, it was the what wedding? I don't even know if you can really call it that, right?
Right.
But now we're hearing about a potential split, a crazy Grammys appearance. And, well, I guess it wouldn't be a week without a Kanye controversy, right?
Yeah, and it really is amazing how fast it all happened. I mean, just a couple months ago, they had that, whatever you want to call it, ceremony back in December, not legally binding or anything.
Right.
And now people are talking about a $5 million settlement.
Yeah, and somewhere in the middle of all that, Kanye just keeps pushing things further and further. Like, how far can he go,
Well, let's talk about the Grammys. That's where a lot of people felt like, okay, this is getting out of control.
Yeah, that Grammys stunt. I mean, I guess you could call it a stunt, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I mean, for those who didn't see it, Bianca showed up in, well, basically just a sheer dress, like naked.
Pretty much, yeah.
And obviously people had a lot to say. Some saying it was like some kind of bold artistic expression. Others were just really worried. Like, was she pressured into this? Did she even want to do this?
Yeah, and then Kanye, being Kanye, goes and defends the whole thing on social media.
Oh, yeah, he had some thoughts.
Yeah, he used some pretty loaded language, too, like minion approval.
Yeah, what was that all about?
It makes me wonder about the power dynamic in that relationship.
Yeah, for sure. Like, how much agency does she actually have?
Right.
And then right after the Grammys is when things go really off the rails.
Oh, yeah, things took a turn.
Kanye goes on this whole rant, anti-Semitic stuff on social media, invoking Nazis and everything. Then is that Super Bowl ad for his clothing line with a swastika on it. It's like, come on, man.
And it wasn't just like shocking or provocative, it had real consequences. Like Shopify shut down his website and he got kicked off Twitter for a while anyway. He's back now. But that's not just Kanye being outspoken,
Right.
That's crossing a line.
Totally. And this was all happening while, all these rumors are flying around about the split.
Right.
Multiple sources are saying they're working on this $5 million settlement, saying Bianca is super unhappy with his behavior.
Yeah.
But then you have Milo Yiannopoulos, who's supposedly speaking for them, totally denying everything, even talking about their Valentine's Day plans. Like, so who do you believe?
It is a puzzle. You have to think about the motivations of everybody involved, right? Like, are the people close to Bianca trying to protect her? Is Yiannopoulos just, I don't know, trying to downplay the whole thing? It's like, I don't know, some kind of chess game where every move can be interpreted like 10 different ways.
Right. I mean, it really makes you think, right? Like, how much of this is real and how much is just for the cameras?
Yeah, like truth versus like spectacle.
Exactly, especially with celebrities.
That's the big question, isn't it? And with Kanye, I mean, he's always kind of played with that line.
Oh, for sure.
Blurted even.
This isn't even his first rodeo, right? I mean, remember the Kim K divorce? That was a whole, saga.
Yeah, it ate out for the whole world to see.
So messy. I mean, you can see some of those same patterns here, right? The impulsive stuff, the public outbursts, all that, chaotic energy, it follows him everywhere.
It's interesting, though, right? Because on the one hand, you have, Kanye's very public persona, this, larger-than-life figure.
Right.
And then you have these sources saying Bianca is, unhappy.
Yeah, behind the scenes.
Right. So on the surface, it's this powerful couple making these bold statements. But then underneath, there are whispers of someone feeling, I don't know, trapped, maybe, or manipulated.
And that $5 million settlement, if it's even real, I mean, that adds a whole other layer, right? It almost feels like, I don't know, like a preemptive thing. Like they both kind of knew it wasn't going to last.
Makes you wonder if it was ever really a true love thing, or if it was always more about, I don't know, publicity.
Yeah, I mean, Kanye has been struggling, brand-wise, especially after all the anti-Semitic stuff. So maybe this is a way to change the narrative, get people talking about something else.
Could be.
I mean, his career has definitely taken some hits, major hits. Adidas, Gap, Balenciaga, all gone.
Yeah.
And there's been such a backlash, not just from fans, but from other artists, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just his reputation. It's his whole empire that's on the line.
And, this goes beyond just Kanye, right? It raises questions about, the responsibility that comes with having such a huge platform. When you have millions of people listening to everything you say, there's a level of, I don't know, accountability that comes with that.
Totally. Your words have power. And he's used that power, in this case, to spread some really hateful stuff. But let's talk about Bianca for a minute. Where does this leave her?
Yeah, I mean, she's gone from being relatively unknown to like smack dab in the middle of this media frenzy.
Exactly. It's crazy.
And it's almost impossible to like separate her story from Kanye's, even if they do break up.
Yeah.
She's been branded as like his partner, and that's going to follow her, good or bad.
Imagine the pressure of that. I mean, she was living a pretty private life before all this, right? It makes you wonder, what does she want out of all this? What are her goals? It feels like we only get to hear her story through, Kanye's lens.
Right, like it's always filtered through his narrative.
It highlights this bigger issue, I think. Like in celebrity culture in general, there's this tendency to define women by who they're dating, especially if it's a powerful man.
Totally.
We need to hear Bianca's voice, her take on all of this.
For sure.
But we rarely do, right? It's always through like publicists or unnamed sources.
Yeah, but you're right. Her experience matters just as much as Kanye's.
Absolutely.
And, it's worth mentioning that this isn't the first time we've heard breakup rumors about them. Back in September, there were reports, and that turned out to be nothing. So maybe this is just another publicity thing.
Yeah.
Or a way to distract from Kanye's legal troubles.
I mean, we have to at least consider it, right? It's like trying to solve a puzzle, but you only have half the pieces.
Exactly.
There's so much we don't know, and I feel like that's on purpose.
Yeah.
But whether it's real or not, I mean, this whole thing says a lot about Kanye, where he's at, his career. He's at a crossroads for sure. And whatever he does next, it's going to have a big impact. I don't know, it's kind of like Shakespearean, right? This whole rise and fall of Kanye West. Like he was this musical genius, a fashion icon even. And now he's this figure just surrounded by controversy.
Yeah, it really is like a cautionary tale about ego, and the responsibility or maybe irresponsibility that comes with having that much influence. I mean, he had it all, right? Talent, influence, this global audience, and he's alienated so many people. It makes you wonder, can you ever come back from that?
I mean, we've seen other celebrities, right, face backlash for stuff they've said or done. But this feels different. It feels like he's crossed some kind of line, like a line that a lot of people just, I don't know, they can't forgive.
I think it's so interesting because it's not just about him. Like, this whole saga, this whole Kanye and Bianca thing, it says something bigger about celebrity culture, right? The price of fame and maybe how we as consumers kind of feed into this whole cycle. We're obsessed with these narratives, the rises, the falls, and sometimes I think we forget that there aren't actual people behind the headlines.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that brings us back to Bianca, right? No matter what happens with this split, she's going to be tied to him. That's a lot to carry.
It is.
It makes you think about the impact of these relationships, these really high-profile relationships, especially when they, explode in public like this.
She was, thrown into the spotlight, ready or not, and I worry about her story getting lost in all the noise. She becomes just Kanye's ex or whatever. And we have to remember she has her own life, her own things she wants to do, her own story to tell.
It's a reminder that there's always more than one side to these stories. And we'll probably never know the full truth about what happened between them. But I don't know, maybe we can all be a little more mindful, right?
Yeah.
About the stories we buy into, and try to look past the headlines.
Exactly. And as this whole thing plays out, I keep coming back to this question, what does this say about fame and controversy and how that affects relationships? Can love really survive in that kind of environment? When it's so chaotic and so public.
It's like a warning, right? Even the biggest, most glamorous relationships, they could fall apart, especially with all the pressure for fame and, everybody watching. And it makes you think about the stories we're fed, the narratives, right? And how much is hidden beneath the surface. Like with celebrity culture, it's all so manufactured. So there you have it. That's our deep dive onto the Kanye and Bianca split. Or maybe not split. I don't know. It's a story full of twists and turns and a lot of unanswered questions. We've covered a lot today, but I have a feeling this isn't over. Keep your eyes peeled and let us know what you think. Is this the end for Kanye? What's next for Bianca? And what does it all mean for fame, power, and love in this crazy digital age? We'll be back with more next time, but for now, keep thinking about it.